As a movie reviewer guy or just some jackass who talks about movies, it would only be fitting if I wrap up the year with a couple of lists. One best of, one worst of. No, I didn't see every movie, but I did see a ton of films this year, and that in and of itself is quite a feat in 2023. I don't know if you'll agree, but the number of films we got this year I thought were mostly forgotten immediately. While the year did see a few releases from legends like Martin Scorsese, Christopher Nolan, David Fincher, and Ridley Scott, most of these were overshadowed by an extended writers and actors strike and a mostly disastrous box office. While there's seemingly a quality problem these days, I think the quantity issue is a far bigger problem. Anyway, you clicked on this video to see what I think, so let's get to the coveted list and discover some of the better quality I witnessed this year. Feel free to disagree or tell me how much I missed the mark. Either way, all comments are welcome.
You suck, you jackass!
First, I want to honorably mention a few movies that could have easily made this list, but I couldn't find a way to squeeze them in. I can comfortably recommend all these films in the aforementioned list. I'd like to shout out the following movies. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. This is a gripping, realistic tale of an injured soldier and his translator. Gran Turismo. This was the surprise movie of the year. That's a terrifically acted and heartfelt film about a kid who was good at a video game and goes on to become a professional race car driver. Caesar's probably the most underrated movie of the year. This features a John Wick-like tale of a gold miner taking on Nazis towards the end of World War II. Poor Things, a weird and overly sexualized Tim Burton-esque tale with an excellent performance from Emma Stone. The Sound of Freedom. To me, this was the most unnecessarily controversial film of the year. It's about breaking up a child sex trafficking ring. Any of these films could be switched out on the list and I'd have no problem with that. Alright, let's kick this bitch off.
Number 13.
I think Chris Hemsworth's career kicked off at the wrong time. His legend would know no bounds if he were this age in the late 80s or early 90s, because I think he's one of the best big screen action heroes ever. He's tall, he's built, handsome, athletic, and an excellent actor. He has terrific comic timing, but he's able to hit the right emotional beat when the scene calls for it. The first Extraction film came out of nowhere and ended up being one of the better action films of that year. The way it ended though, it seemed almost impossible for a sequel to materialize, yet here we are. Extraction 2 picks right up where the previous entry left off, and by picks up, I mean quite literally all the elements. If you're able to sit back and just suspend your disbelief, this will be one of the more fun you could have had with a movie this entire year. My biggest gripe about this film is that it wasn't released in the theater, because then this would have been a spectacle. Especially because there's a jailbreak 21-minute no-cut action scene that was made just for the big screen. This sets up for a third installment, and all I'm asking is that it lives up to the greatness these first two films have presented.
Number 12.
Hayao Miyazaki is legit one of the greatest directors living and possibly to have ever lived. I'm sure many will disagree, as this man only crafts 2D hand-drawn animated films, but I stand by this claim. Spirited Away and Princess Mononoke are two of my favorite animated movies ever. The Boy and the Heron's his first feature-length film in over a decade, and Miyazaki crafted a semi-autobiographical tale about a young boy named Mahito struggling to settle in a new town after his mother's death. Enter a talking heron who informs Mahito that his mother's still alive, and this leads him to an abandoned tower in search of her, ultimately taking him to another world. This brilliant, emotionally impactful film includes plenty of metaphors about the end of the career and the life of this legend creeping on the precipice. This, like so many of his movies, doesn't adhere to the standard three-act structure that we're so accustomed to here in the West, and it is weird and spiritual in the sense that all his films are. I'll say this, if you love Miyazaki films, you'll love this. If you don't, you won't.
Number 11.
I think Tom Cruise is a dying breed. He's one of the last true movie stars, he and maybe Denzel. Anyway, Mission Impossible 7 was the surprise box office disappointment of the year. It was surprising to me because of the tremendous success of Top Gun Maverick, the great trailers, and the excellent critical reception. Also, the previous installment was probably the best of the entire series, so the momentum leading to this movie was great. I was wrong. However, this is one of the best, if not the best, installments in this entire franchise, and I look forward to getting the resolution to this film. I thought it was perfectly paced with its hokey, over-the-top, world-ending MacGuffin plot device, patented Tom Cruise running scenes, complicated love story, terrific action, and likable supporting characters. I honestly could watch 7 more of these, and since we all know Tom Cruise is a vampire, I wouldn't put it past him.
Number 10.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is a shockingly grown-up and gloriously animated movie. I took my young daughter to see this in the theater and she was bored out of her mind throughout much of the film, and she adored the first installment. There's themes and elements in this film that I'm not sure younger ones' brains can quite comprehend. Now, I'm not breaking any new ground by stating that the animation is simply astounding, and even though this film doesn't have a fully fleshed out 3-act structure, it's just terrific. This is one of the few movies of this year that I've watched more than 3 times since its release, and I would happily watch it again. I'm hoping the third installment can perform the rare feat of closing out the trilogy in style.
Number 9.
A Million Miles Away is one of those movies that you didn't hear much about. It appeared on a streaming network, Amazon Prime, and disappeared into the vast array of endless streaming content. And that's too bad because this movie's fantastic and well worth your time. Michael Peña's always been an actor who I think goes underappreciated, and he gives an outstanding performance in this film which is filled with tear-jerking moments, a nice message about family, and that dreams are achievable through determination, persistence, and hard work. This movie is an inspiring story of the American dream that many have come to this country to achieve.
Number 8.
I'm unashamed of my love for the John Wick films. I think one of the better things this franchise has done is make each movie stand on its own while keeping the spirit of what made the first so beloved alive. The fourth installment is tremendous in scope, ridiculously implausible with its action scenes, and just so much damn fun. While this movie certainly won't win any awards, and honestly, who cares? It has fantastic cinematography, next-level choreography, and jaw-dropping set pieces. I think after watching this a few times, I'm comfortable in claiming that this is probably the best-looking action movie ever made. Top it off with the eternally likable Keanu Reeves and a blind sword-wielding Donnie Yen, and you have one of the best movies of the year.
Number 7.
When Evil Lurks is a demented, grotesque horror film that is unrelenting and brutal. It flips the typical horror tropes on their head. Now, I can't say this is a movie I'd ever watch again, but I like the atmosphere, the story, and the setting of this film. It's also tremendously well made. I don't think this movie has the temperament to be a smashing success in the States, but I think it will develop a bit of a cult following over these next few years. And hopefully, we can get a follow-up. There's more than a few oh shit moments in this movie, and if you are the least bit queasy, it's best to avoid this one. But if you missed this and are looking for a next level horror movie, go ahead and sign up for a 30-day trial with Shudder. You seriously won't regret it.
Number 6.
Ben Affleck is one of the more interesting studies in the history of Hollywood. He's been loved and loathed as an actor, a paparazzi magnet, a forever meme, and a Batman who wasn't appropriately utilized. However, Affleck has shined chiefly throughout his career as a director, and honestly, who saw that coming? He was the butt end of Family Guy and South Park jokes, and there's even a deep internet conspiracy theory on the legitimacy of his writing creds on Good Will Hunting. Anyway, Air is a movie that works far better than it has any right to. First, giving his buddy Matt Damon the lead was the right choice, as he's terrific in the lead role here. This story should have only taken about 30 minutes to tell, and as a viewer, we know exactly how it ends up. The fact that this is such a compelling and emotionally investing film speaks volumes about Affleck's talent as a director. His choice to never show Michael Jordan's face is a brilliant one he made as a director as well. This landed on the list for the simple fact that it surprised the hell out of me. Is just a damn good film to watch.
Number 5.
So growing up outside of Dallas, the Von Erichs and the Von Erich curse are tales of legend. That said, I didn't know much of the story other than the rumors that had swirled all these years. The Iron Claw was an emotional roller coaster with terrific performances and filmmaking. If you had told me that the dorky kid from High School Musical was going to give the performance he does in this movie, I would have thought the AI had officially taken over and we're living in an alternate reality. Don't get me wrong, that could still be the case, but damn, what a movie. If you've been or are a wrestling fan, this movie may resonate hard, but just as a film, this one hits different. Since seeing it, it stuck with me for the last few weeks.
Number 4.
Every once in a while, I'll see a horror movie that blows the front of my face through the back of my head. And in 2023, that film was Talk to Me. I think Hereditary was the last movie to have the same impact on me. Anyway, this is a simply constructed, low-budget horror movie that is just a damn good movie. The simple fact that this was made by YouTube brothers who also happen to be the Australian version of Terrence and Phillip.
Hey bro, big fan.
Yeah,
And he's like, we're having fun. He would walk past us.
yeah,
Like,
it was exactly that. Michael just starts being a
Yeah, I was like a
fanboy,
fanboy,
is cringing.
fanboy
When he was in
guy.
here, like, oh, I can't believe I'm here. I'm like, Michael, fuck, be professional. What are you doing?
yeah, like, look.
Just adds to my love of the film. It's restrained when it needs to be, it resonates emotionally when required, it's terrifically acted, and it's horror done incredibly well. The jump scare isn't used as a device in the film. It also ties itself in a nice bow with its brilliant ending. I know there's a second movie in the works, but the impact I felt seeing this in the theater will almost be impossible to replicate.
Number 3.
Chris Nolan is a gangster. He's a throwback to a distant time in Hollywood. He's one of the few directors alive who can attach his name to a movie, and it will be bigger than any of the stars he casts. He's pushing really hard for people to own physical media, and this is a testament to his love and care for this industry, which quite frankly is ultimately on a downward trajectory. After an initial viewing, I said that Oppenheimer was his magnum opus, and I remembered he has The Dark Knight, Memento, Inception, The Prestige, and Interstellar in his arsenal. Either way, Oppenheimer is a 3-hour biopic that is briskly paced and includes a story that captivated me. It also doesn't hurt that the acting is so good that you almost don't realize there's virtually no action in the film. Allegedly, there isn't one shot of CGI used throughout the movie, which also just adds to Nolan's legend.
Number 2.
Another reason we live in an alternate dimension is that a movie was released this year that told a heartbreaking story about a makeshift family trying to put the pieces back together to their way of life post-World War II. It features a compelling story that resonates emotionally. Oh, this is also a Godzilla movie.
LOL.
Godzilla -1 is indeed a monster movie, but it tells a captivating story that had me so invested in the characters that I cared about what happened to them. Anyway, the threat of Godzilla is apocalyptic, and as a viewer, I was genuinely concerned for the safety and well-being of these characters. Now, much has been made about the shoestring budget used to make this movie, but to me, it kind of feels like this should be the way to make a big-budget movie going forward. Get the viewer invested in the story and the characters and make the danger an existential threat to their lives. I honestly can't wait to watch this film again. Japanese Godzilla is the only Godzilla going forward.
Number 1.
The Holdovers was a movie that had me intrigued from the get-go. Paul Giamatti in an Alexander Payne movie 20 years after Sideways? Where do I sign up? And after the credits rolled on this one, I sat there for a minute and took in what I thought was almost a perfect movie. Honestly, I think it's pretty shocking that a movie of this level came out in 2023. I know it's award season, but I care so little about the grotesque, masturbatory pat on the back Hollywood gives itself each year. However, this is the movie I would nominate and provide awards to for everything, even special effects. There's none if you haven't seen it. I think the thing I was most surprised by was just what a good, uplifting story Payne pulled in this movie. This hits all the emotional beats without being corny and has a terrific message without being preachy. In other words, it strikes the perfect balance, and this is also a feel-good Christmas movie that I will indeed watch every year from here on out.
I'll do it.
And there it is in all its glory, my silly little list on this silly little channel. Thanks for watching this far. You make me a better person. Not sure about a better YouTuber. I've yet to quite crack the code on that one. As my socials have been growing, so has my ego. But it's you little people who genuinely make our success what it is.
Just kidding. How's your mother?
If you could help a brother out, give this video a little like, a little share, and maybe I've earned a little subscription.
If not, that's fine.
I can't promise you won't be disappointed, but I can promise I will keep posting content. As always, the views in this video are mine and mine alone. But what do I know? I'm but a mere jackass. I'll try to do better next time. Catch you later, friends.
Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.